Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's October 25th, 2024, and today's the day I've got to spend a little bit of time getting the permanent raised beds ready for the garlic and shallots. Now, recently I posted a video terminating the cover crops on these 4 beds, and I used the BCS walk-behind tractor, the Italian designed tractor, and use the flail mower that mounted on the front of the tractor, and I mowed down the crop. So that all got pulverized, and the roots are still there intact. Now, it's a lot of work for us to try and put the garlic cloves or shallots down into the soil the way that it is. So digging down in here, it's a little bit of effort to do that, so I'm just moving some of the cover crop back, and that seems pretty firm down here right now. So today we're going to use the BCS tractor again, but we're turning the handlebars around, and we're going to be using a different attachment other than the flail mower. So we'll go over here and look and say, so this is the flail mower, and that's a Berta flail mower, and that attaches to the little BCS 749 tractor that I have, and that really chops everything down really good as a flail mower, terminating cover crops. This attachment also attaches onto the back of the BCS tractor, and this is the unit that when I first want to establish raised beds, what it can do when it's flat surface out there, it can you decide where you want the paths to be, and that will throw the soil up onto the sides so that you're raising a bed on either side of the path, and gives your paths a little bit lower spot, so it can throw your topsoil up onto these areas. Then the other, in small I'd say market gardeners, they often use the rototiller as well. Now this I seldom use. Rototiller, we consider ourselves minimum till or almost no till, because we seldom use a tiller. I do use the tilther just to disturb the surface of the soil, but this destroys the soil structure, damages the whole ecosystem in the soil. It damages all the hard work that the microorganisms have been doing in the soil. So tilling really is very destructive. Now sometimes you got to till the first time you're establishing a place, but the more you can get to the point where you're not tilling is actually the best. And someday I want to get to the point where I can just plant directly into the cover crop itself. You know, you lay the cover crop down instead of you know, flail mowing it. You just fold it down, and then you go through and you're direct seeding right into that cover crop, and it creates a mulch of its own. And I'm just not there yet. So what I'm going to use today is a power Harrow. So this is different than a rototiller. A rototiller, if we're looking at this machine now, the tines would be going in this direction, and they're big tines. They dig down pretty darn deep, so you really do a lot of damage. The tines in these ones actually rotate on their axis, and it's a vertical axis, so they rotate horizontally, and you can set it by adjusting this wheel behind it. There's an adjusting handle right here, and you can just make it so that it's just disturbing the top surface of the soil, so you're doing minimal damage to the microorganisms and the soil structure itself. Someday I'd like to never have to use a power harrow or any of those tools, but it's kind of necessary for me to go ahead and work this soil so that when it comes time to put the garlic and the shallots in the soil, it's just much easier for us to do it. It isn't as much back labor, but at the same time we want to do as little damage to the soil structure and therefore the microorganisms in the soil, which feed the plants, and the plants feed us. So this is it. This is the power Harrow, the BCS tractor. The handlebars, when I was using the flail mower, were on the other side. So these just switch back and forth. A real handy small farm tool to work with. So I'm going to get started now, and we'll see if this will work. All righty.
Out in the field with my BCS, got the 749, it's built for success. Power Harrow's humming, soil's getting right, prepping up the beds for the next crop's life. Oh, I'm rolling with the Harrow, steady and true, turning up the soil like the seasons do. Keeping it gentle, just the top layer for roots to breathe deep in that homegrown air. The earth's still warm from the summer sun, but it's time to work, we're not yet done. Breaking up clods, just the surface that's key, keeping life in the soil for the crops to be. Oh, I'm rolling with the Harrow, steady and true, turning up the soil like the seasons do. Keeping it gentle, just the top layer for roots to breathe deep in that homegrown air. The earth's still warm from the summer sun, but it's time to work, we're not yet done. Breaking up clods, just the surface that's key, keeping life in the soil for the crops to be. Oh, I'm rolling with the Harrow, steady and true, turning up the soil like the seasons do. Keeping it gentle, just the top layer for roots to breathe deep in that homegrown air. This ground holds the promise of the harvest ahead. With each gentle pass, it's a nurtured bed. No deep digging here, just a fine little churn. Respecting the earth, that's what we learn. Compost on top with a Harrow spin, mixing it in, let the magic begin. Planting the seeds, they'll find their way in soil that's ready come planting day. Oh, I'm rolling with the Harrow, steady and true, turning up the soil like the seasons do. Keeping it gentle, just the top layer for roots to breathe deep in that homegrown air. So here's to the power Harrow and the BCS, working in harmony, giving nature our best. These raised beds, the next crop will grow with every careful pass. We're ready to sow. Oh, I'm rolling with the Harrow, steady and true, turning up the soil like the seasons do. Keeping it gentle, just the top layer for roots to breathe deep in that homegrown air. This ground holds the promise of the harvest of harvests ahead. With each gentle pass, it's a nurtured bed. No deep digging here, just a fine little churn. Respecting the earth for the next crop's life. Oh, I'm rolling with the Harrow, steady and true, turning up the soil like the seasons do. Keeping it gentle, just the top layer for roots to breathe deep in that homegrown air.
Okay, that was a workout, but the mission has been accomplished. I did have a couple of challenges. One of the things that made it so challenging is, well, one, we have weed mats all around here, and the raised beds are quite raised, not like most, market gardeners and all. You can see I actually didn't have it up high enough, and I caught this. Now, of course, it wasn't in the rotary power stage, so it caught on to the weed mat here, which made me lift it real high. You can see one of the daikon radishes here, and when I flail mow, you could see it chopped off the top of these, but I wanted to come down and actually disturb, an inch to an inch and a half deep of the soil So that's going to be okay to plant the garlic and shallots in this level here. I want to give this a couple of days to settle, and then because we usually, excuse all my sweat, we usually try to get our garlic and shallots in, and we're in central New York, zone 5A, and we try to get them in between Halloween, the end of October, October 31st, and November, and let's say Thanksgiving, the third week in November. And the daikon radish, when I've done this before, the daikon radish is just like a rock up in there. I don't care, as long as where I put the garlic, the daikon radish will feed the rest of the microorganisms in the soil over time, and the earthworms. Sorry, I'm still out of breath. But the stuff sticking out at the surface or things starting to regrow, that's what I wanted to stop. And so I decided to come out here today, run the power Harrow off the back of the BCS tractor, and it works really well. It'd be much better if I didn't have weed mats to do all the gardening that we do. We used to have wood chips in our aisles and all, but it got to be impossible because the wood chips we get are sometimes 3-4 foot long pieces of sticks. So it just, you trip, and a chance of getting hurt, especially if you fall on it, you could get stabbed by those sticks. So, and we tried the paper mulch with double ground hardwood bark mulch on top of it over in the western garden plot here this summer, and that has not worked out very well. So we've got challenges trying to deal with this, but we really like the raised bed part where we can be in the aisle and then do our work in the sides. It just makes it much easier on our backs, because both of us have some challenges with our health and our backs. And I would just come off of being laid up flat on my back for 2 weeks, and then a couple of months of trying to recover here. And I could see I'm not quite recovered yet, because I'm not strong enough to really manage this, the power Harrow on the back of this, and be able to get it up so I'm not digging into the weed mats here. So we shall see, but mission accomplished. We've got that pretty darn good. Not perfect, but it's 3/4 of an inch here. So we will see. I think this is going to work. So I'll give this a few days, see how it looks. I'll go ahead and clean up the BCS tractor and the power Harrow, and this one can get put away for another few years, I guess. So that's it for today's video, folks. Just wanted to share some of the equipment that we use, and this is fantastic equipment for someone who has a market garden, and you know, they're supplying to their local, what do you call it now, not farm shop. Well, some people have their own farm stands and all. I can't think of the term. When you go to town and you have a farm stand there in town that all the vendors bring their equipment. So great for market gardeners. Not the greatest for what I'm doing here. Fantastic for getting things established, but maintaining for me, as I'm getting older, it is a bit of a challenge. But fantastic machine, works like a charm. Okay, that's it. That's enough of me babbling on. You folks, stay safe and take care. Bye-bye now.